What happens when two worlds limited only by your imagination collide to create something new? On a mission to find out, I rebuilt a Lego set for my childhood in Minecraft. But before we jump into building a 539-piece Lego set, it's probably a good idea to figure out how we're even going to make Lego bricks in Minecraft in the first place. So with no idea whether this build would even be possible, I went to the same place I usually go when I'm feeling helpless. The internet. I found a few Lego brick builds out there, but if I was going to make this idea work, I needed something on a scale that would actually be achievable in survival. So it was back to the drawing board. Problem is, Legos are a science. There are literal engineers behind their design. Every piece is made with the perfect dimensions designed to But no, if I couldn't get the scale right, the build literally wouldn't come together. So I did a little more digging, until I stumbled across an article which held the key to everything. Introducing the Lego unit. Lego units are a unit of measurement that break down each piece into simple ratios of width and height, and using them, I was able to create this, the smallest possible perfectly scaled Lego brick in Minecraft. Now, the top of the Lego, the stud, isn't exactly a circle, but this is where I need to make some sacrifices, because doubling the scale would add weeks to the build time. With the basic brick figured out, I began trying to replicate some of the other pieces to make sure the scale would hold up. I tried larger bricks, shorter bricks, cylinders, these little round things, but it wasn't until I did a test build of the base plate and the door that the true scale of this build hit me. Now, in order to turn this idea into a reality, I'm going to need a ton of concrete. The base plate alone is going to require over 30,000 lime concrete, and I'm going to need even more than that for the white and blue bricks. So let's get all the block collecting out of the way first. Luckily, getting concrete is super duper easy with a duper. However, my setup here is kind of lackluster and inconvenient. It would probably take around 8 hours to get all the concrete powder and convert it with the concrete converter. So, like any sane person would do, I'm going to spend those 8 hours coming up with a completely new setup, spend an entire day building it, and then get the concrete, because I like efficiency. So the new gravity block duper I'm installing here is by Couch Tomato. It has the same production rate as the one I just destroyed, however this one is compatible with the concrete factory that I'm building now. And this thing is cool. It takes all of the concrete powder, catches it, throws it against waterlogged stairs, converting it, and then blows it up, removing an entire step from the process and making my old concrete converter obsolete. Next up is the storage system, and this one is designed by this guy Aust. You should check out his channel, he's got some pretty... It sorts all the concrete by color and loads it into shulker boxes automatically. And I was so caught up in designing a good concrete storage system that I forgot to leave room for sand. So, well, that's gonna be fun to deal with next time I need some for a project. Anywho, with the new setup here, all I have to do is place down the different colors, turn everything on, and while it's doing its thing, get addicted to this farming minigame inside my new Discord server. That's the concrete done. The last thing we're going to need is some wood for the trim along the door and windows. For that, I built this wood farm designed by Ianxofour and upgraded by ncolyer. Super simple build, and within an hour the wood farm did indeed produce the wood. Who would have guessed? Now the question is, where do I build this thing? Ideally it's somewhere as flat as possible because I don't want to spend too much time terraforming. Alright, this spot here is very flat actually. I typically wouldn't recommend building a house on a body of water, but I think Legos float, so we should be okay. And with a little terraforming, I should be able to make sure that the rivers aren't flowing into our yard. So let's do it. There's an outline of the entire base plate, and now I just need to flatten everything inside of it. And terraform the water parts to connect the land. And now for the 30,000 block base plate. And boom, the entire base plate complete. After bringing all the concrete over, all I had to do was follow the instructions. To no one's surprise, I failed immediately, building the very first brick too skinny. But after fixing it, filling it in, and building the studs, I had my very first Lego brick complete. It may sound obvious now, but I wanted to build the entire set one brick at a time. So even in moments where there were a bunch of the same color bricks in a row that I could combine without anyone knowing, I still built them individually. To you, that may sound like a big waste of time, and while that's very true, if I cut corners, I wouldn't be able to do this. Page 7 is where we run into our first dilemma. This is the first time I needed to use wood for a Lego brick, and the thing about wooden planks is that they have texture, while the Lego bricks that I'm trying to recreate do not. So for the purpose of recreating this to the best of my abilities, I'll be using this texture pack I made for the rest of the video. All it does is remove the texture from oak planks, and with it we get this result instead of this. And with that problem solved, it was time to get back to building. For the most part, the next 2 hours were pretty straightforward. The only piece that I had some trouble with was the hose tap, but I think it turned out okay. Then I got back to work, building what I'm guessing is supposed to be a flower pot, and then a basket of apples, and 2 bushes before adding the red trim to the house. Alright, I've made some more progress here, but I just realized that some of the windows actually have glass in them, which I don't have. So I'll need to make a quick stop at my village to buy some. And while I'm at it, I'll craft up the yellow glass we're going to need for the light next to the door. Perfect. From there, I continued building up the walls, adding the first few windows, built the garage door, followed by the front door, and then removed this man and his llamas from the cruel existence that is life. It only took a few more bricks for me to run into the next problem. Well, 2 actually. Number 1, are these supposed to be stairs or a ladder? And number 2, how in the hippy dippy baloney am I going to build it diagonally? I'll let you guys debate the first question in the comments, but as for how I'm going to build it, allow me to demonstrate with the most advanced program on my computer. This is the Lego house, and these are the stairs/ladder. Now, after seeking advice from several professionals in the field, and conducting my own super advanced research, I've decided that my best option is to do this. And despite all that preparation, I still butchered the first attempt. With the statter complete, the outdoor light was my next challenge. Building top down is always difficult, but I think it turned out well. From there, I worked on the final touches for the first floor and then began the roof. For the next dozen or so pages, everything was smooth sailing. That is, until I was almost finished with the left side and flipped the page and was faced by this. The dreaded satellite dish. Building a circle out of blocks isn't the most difficult thing. Even diagonal circles can be considered doable, but a diagonal dish. I'm not the best builder, so getting something close to a diagonal dish was hard. This is what I ended up with, and although it doesn't really look like Lego, if you zoom out a bit, I think you can tell what I was going for. I hope. From there, I finished the left side of the roof, topping it off with the chimney. And I could continue rambling on about each part as I build it, but for the rest of the house, I think it's best showcased with one of these. After 4 more hours of building, the house itself was complete, and the only thing left to do was the famous apple tree, the lawnmower, which was actually much simpler than I was expecting, and the basketball hoop, which I nailed first try. Just ignore that. Oh yeah, and to bring the whole build together, I added 2 letters in the mailbox. And there it is, Minecraft Lego. No, Lego Minecraft? A Lego house in Minecraft.